Welcome, everybody, to the Lee School Committee meeting. It is Tuesday, December 14th, 2021 at 7 o'clock. We are in a hybrid meeting venue. Some of us are here in the Lee Middle and High School Library, and some of us are still coming to you via Zoom. We are in a virtual meeting room per Governor Baker's order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, GLC 30A, Section 20. This meeting will take place virtually via Zoom. I'd like to call the meeting to order pursuant to MGLC 30A Section 20. I am hereby informing all attendees that a video and audio recording is being made of the meeting. And I would like to invite everybody to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The mission statement of Lee Public Schools is to ensure students have the opportunities to develop the social, civil, and critical thinking skills to thrive in an ever-changing world. Brenda, could you do a roll call, please?
Mr. Robin?
Present.
Mr. Kinnis?
Here.
Mrs. Kushur?
Here.
Ms. Larman?
Here.
Mr. Nichols?
Here.
Ms. Strickler?
Here.
Mrs. Wadsworth?
Here.
Okay, the first thing on our agenda this evening is the approval of our November 9th, 2021 Lee School Committee meetings. I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the November 9th, 2021 Lee School Committee meeting minutes.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Brenda, could you roll call us, please?
Mr. Robin?
Yes.
Mr. Kinnis?
Yes.
Mrs. Kushur?
Yes.
Ms. Larman?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Ms. Strickler?
Yes,
Mrs. Wadsworth?
I'm going to abstain. I wasn't at the last meeting.
Okay, next thing up is public input.
All right, members of the public are invited to address the committee at this time. Issues raised will normally be referred to the administration or a subcommittee of the school committee. And so, we have a few people. Is that Renee? All right, Renee, you can unmute yourself.
Thank you. I just know that there's some new business coming up later regarding the policy modification request. I realize that the policy was created for safety purposes. However, I personally am seeing a lot of, no guarantee that getting the COVID vaccine means you don't get COVID. And I would like to be able to get the twice-a-week testing, which I have been already doing, and I would find out very quickly whether I had COVID, and I would stay home faster than people who are not. I also know there are several people who have gotten sick after the COVID vaccine, which is why I'm hesitant about getting it. That's really all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Renee.
I just saw Daryl Bentley's hand up, but I don't know where he went.
Well, that logged out.
Oh, no.
Anybody else?
Oh, no, down here. But he's unmuted.
There it goes. He's got his hand.
All right,
D-
Daryl.
Is it? It's Daryl.
Daryl.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yep, sorry, I'm on a phone. It's the first time I've ever done this on a phone, so. I just wanted to ask if maybe you'd consider changing public input to the end of meetings. That way, when people watch your meetings and have questions about what the topics you just went over, they could ask instead of having to wait an entire month to ask a question of the board. That's all. Just a consideration, please.
Anybody else? I know Aaron's got a report to read from Kathy Hall, but I just want to make sure
Yeah.
everybody in Zoom land has an opportunity. All right, not seeing
Yeah,
anything?
no, Courtney Sparks.
Oh, Courtney.
Hi. I just want to take a minute to make a suggestion that there's some kind of protocol put in place for this COVID testing for students. I know I sent an email to everyone and got 0 responses from anyone on that about when a child needs to be tested for COVID if they are out of school. You know, I called the Department of Education, I called Tri-Town. I sent the sheet with the reference sheet, and I just think, I mean, as a parent, I was like floored by it, and I just think that parents need to know, you know, what's going on with that. That's one thing I want to bring up. The other thing I want to bring up is these safety protocols that I think also need to be put in place for these incidents going on. In 6th grade specifically, I know my own son had an incident, and I just feel like we're getting nowhere with what is going on, and there's not really communication. And I know it's hard, you know, because certain things can't be told to the rest of the parents, but there's a lot of upset parents of the current 6th grade, and I just feel like we kind of need some answers on that. And I don't know if school committee can get involved in that or not, but thank you. That's all I want to say.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Mr. Fenley
Is he raising
put
his
his
hand
hand
again?
back up.
Yes.
Yep. Daryl?
Hello, yes. So also, may I speak again?
Yeah.
Okay. I also had some concerns about what's happening in the 6th grade. There seems to be some incidents going on. I don't even know if I'd call them incidents. According to my son, they're violent incidents. I'm not quite sure what's being done about it. As you know, my wife is a teacher there. She won't tell me what's going on. I'm just not quite sure what venue to go through in order to get some answers and to find out what's going to happen and how this is going to be prevented from happening in the future.
I'm going to refer you to the administration for those kind of issues.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, Aaron, it looks like you're on.
All right, thank you. This is from Kathy Hall regarding the youth commission. The Lee Youth Commission is still looking for volunteers to help with the tarp for the ice skating rink at the athletic field this Saturday, December 18th at 9:30 a.m. So just let you know on that. Thank you.
Thanks, Aaron.
Thanks.
All right. I don't see any other, do you see anybody in the chat? No. All right, next up on our agenda is student reports, and I believe we have a substitute today in Corey Chen. Welcome, Corey.
Hello, I'm Corey. So Emma and Emma couldn't make it today due to schedule problems, so I'll be substituting today.
We appreciate it. Thank you for coming, Corey.
And recently we had our winter concert, which went pretty well. There were luckily nothing bad happened. Winter sports have started already, and many of the students here are already doing it and excited for it. We have house activities happening right now, such as the food drive, hot cocoa, and trivia. Recognition ads for the yearbook are due, I think, at end of December or soon. And then most of the students are looking forward to the breaks that are happening soon.
Thanks, Corey.
Thanks, Corey.
We appreciate it. Okay, next up is the chair report. And the only thing that I have to report is I just want to thank all of the employees of Lee Public Schools for all that you guys have done so far up until now. And I would like to wish you all a joyous and relaxing holiday break. You have certainly earned it. And I think the rest of my committee members would join me in saying the exact same. So I hope you all have a fabulous holiday break. So next up, we have Mike Richard with our superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mrs. Larman. I will move through this, and I'd like to echo Corey's comment, because I think that not only are students looking forward and deserving a break here, but staff as well, and everyone is working very hard. So thank you. But let's get through this update. Enrollment, as of December 1st, we're at 642 students. So we had slight change from last month, from the November 1 report, but we're moving in the right direction when students are coming to Lee, which is good, and families are moving to Lee wherever they may be able to find available housing. Again, 642 total. We had one new hire, Carrie Conklin, as a paraprofessional at Lee Middle and High School. COVID-19 reminders. I appreciate the comments that were shared earlier about where we stand. Masks continue to be required in our buildings and on transportation. I met with the commissioner last week, and he doesn't expect to make any changes to masking protocols immediately. He says look forward to potentially an announcement the first or second week of January. So we'll see if anything is going to change at the state level. COVID-19 cases, we're 37 total this year, and that's a lot. We're seeing more this year than we saw most of last year in terms of numbers, and we are spiking. You'll see 23 cases at LES and 14 cases at the middle and high school. And while we had a pretty good week or a couple of weeks with pooled testing, the results that we're getting for positive cases are not a product of pooled testing so much as they are students and or staff becoming symptomatic or coming in contact outside of school. So it's just a reminder, if you're not feeling well, please stay home. And that's hard for me to say, but it's the best interest of everybody in our schools community. We do work with Tri-Town Health to make informed, albeit difficult, decisions about attendance, quarantine, and testing. And so to Ms. Sparks' question or comment earlier, I will send to the school community tomorrow a reminder about what the protocols are for COVID positive quarantining, testing. And we do have test and stay protocols in place. They continue to be in place. The commissioner indicated on that issue that they may be moving to an every other day model for test and stay. And while he wasn't specific as to why, the speculation seems to be that it could be about supply chain and whether there's enough resources across the state to support daily test and stay. But again, until and unless I get any change in protocols from the state, we continue to do test and stay on a daily basis. Vaccination data for the town of Lee. You'll see pretty good numbers for our 12 to 15 and 16 to 19-year-olds. It's a pretty decent rate. We're still a little bit away from any potential 80% conversation, but between staff and students, we may be very, very close. But that's something that the committee may want to consider in January. There are only a few communities across the state that have taken up the 80% mask optional at the secondary level. And they're collecting data to see how successful those models are. Routine COVID safety checks continue to be in place, and I'm sure that Jordan later on, if he's able to join us, will be able to give you some updates. But we are continuing to, do everything possible to keep students in classrooms, staff in front of classrooms, and keep ourselves operational. Quick update, math pilot. In our part of our ESSER 3 application, we said we were going to update curriculum in math and ELA. There are a team of teachers exploring options, including specifically Houghton, Mifflin, Harcourt. That team includes Mr. Briganti and Mr. Mertenook, Michelle Polari, Jen Russa, Tom McCormick, Jamie Paul, Lori Curtin and Marcy Fenley, who are dedicating their own time to help us to make decisions. And we're looking to pilot some of that math curriculum in the end of January, beginning of February, to see if it meets our needs. I also today applied for an accelerating math grant to support the professional development that would be associated with the new math curriculum. I'll keep the committee posted as to when we hear back on that application. School nutrition, nothing new here. Just know that we continue to do the best we can with what we've got. Staffing is a challenge, and so is the demand on supplies. But we are managing. We are keeping our students fed. What the varieties may not be what everybody wants. There are some consistencies in our weekly food service menus, but we are, again, I will say, doing a lot with little. Staffing needs, again, the challenge: substitute teachers and paraprofessionals, food service employees, including substitute food service employees and bus drivers through due force. So if anybody at home is available to work in the schools and is interested or knows somebody who would be, please encourage them to consider joining us in one of those areas in need. Strategic planning update. We were scheduled to meet on December 4th, and due to sort of a low attendance, we postponed that meeting. We've rescheduled it for next Monday evening at 6 o'clock, but excellence is expected. I talked about that earlier. One of the things that the students particularly were noting was that we need to raise the bar a little bit for what's expected of our students on a daily basis. Quick updates, I won't bore you. I've been added to the executive committee at the state level, replacing Superintendent Malkus from North Adams, and not because she wasn't doing a great job, but because she's been named as the vice president for MASS. So there's a Berkshire County rep position that was made available. And then I've also been named to the MIAC committee. And an interesting note there, at the last meeting I was at, they said they're looking to dissolve that committee. So welcome aboard, Mike. We're going to close the
You
committee.
did an awesome job, Mike. Well done.
So we'll see. But that's about rule change proposals and eligibility. It's a group that's made up of school committee members, superintendents, athletic directors, and principals. The walk to school event that you heard a little bit about before, we had nearly 100 students participate in that. It was pretty phenomenal. The golf program that you approved at LES is tremendous. I was able to stop up there and talk to PGA Pro Mark Levesque and the work that he's doing with the kids. The kids are having a blast with it. Mark is doing a tremendous job teaching it. It just seems like a lot of fun. And as was noted, winter athletics have kicked off. Boys basketball was supposed to have their first home game tomorrow night. That's been postponed, but they will be hosting Mount Greylock on Friday night, and girls will host Renaissance next Tuesday, the 21st. Ticket prices are there for you to see.
Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions for Mike? No? All right, we're good. All right, next thing on our agenda is principals and directors reports, and we will start with Tim Mertna from Lee Elementary School.
Hello, everybody. The LES School Council had their first meeting last month. We discussed communication from school to families, as well as reviewed some dismissal software that's being considered as part of our approach to continually assessing the efficiency and safety of our dismissal procedures. LES now has a newsletter. This came out of suggestions made by the members of the school council. My goal is to push out at least 3 newsletters per month with information about the happenings at LES, as well as listing important dates. There have been 3 sent out so far, with total number of views exceeding 2,000. Feedback so far has been very positive from families. Progress reports for Q2 were sent out via email to the families of grades 3rd through 6th graders. This is the first time LES has sent progress reports home in this way, and the feedback so far has been positive from families. LES hosted 2 COVID vaccination clinics that were attended by over 140 children, ages 5 to 11 from all over Berkshire County. The Golf in Schools program, as Superintendent Richard mentioned, is up and running. We have 2 PGA professionals who are helping implement this program with Julia Warner and Jen Carlino, our phys ed teachers, and it's been well received by students. The Massachusetts Cultural Council STARS Residency Grant has been accepted, which is funding the Flying Cloud Institute's residency in our 4th grade the week before February break. They'll be doing a lot of science experiments and activities, working closely with Brittany Cummings, our 4th grade science teacher. I will update more as we get closer to that program. Students in Newspaper Club have been hard at work getting the first issue of the Wildcats Tales ready for publication this year. Geography, chess, robotics, comic clubs are also underway. The LES Student Council has been very active as well. They meet monthly as a group and have so far sponsored Spirit Days, held a faculty fundraiser, purchased playground materials for students, and is currently planning several more events. Our Expressive Arts program is still happening Monday through Thursday each week. There are currently 35 students participating in that morning program, including mentors from the upper grades. Due to the popularity of this program, we're exploring ways to expand it. The parent portal for Focus is open for families of students in grades 3 through 6. Emails were sent home detailing how to create the account, and support was given where needed, and it's still available for any family that needs it. Our monthly walk to school took place Wednesday, December 1st, as Superintendent Richard had said. We had over 100 students participate, and it was sponsored by Dresser Hull, who donated $5 to the La Liberty Toy Fund for every participant, which came to about $500. Special thanks to them, the Lee Police Department, to Jen Carlino, Julia Warren, making this happen. The next walk to school won't be until spring. Lee Police Chief Craig DeSantis and Great Barrington Police Officer Elias Casey visited the 5th and 6th grades with their comfort dog Archer. Archer will be making much more frequent visits to LES and will be visiting the lower grades on his next visit. And we are in our 3rd week of implementing the Botman Life Skills program in grades 5 through 6. This is a character development, anti-bullying program. Both school adjustment counselors are pushing into classrooms to teach that curriculum. And that's what I have for you.
Thanks, Tim. Does anybody have any questions for Tim?
You can breathe.
It sounds like you got some amazing stuff going on at the elementary school. Thank you. All right, next up, we've got Greg Bergenti from Lee Middle and High School.
All right, thank you very much. The drama program presented Romeo and Juliet in coordination with the Fall Festival of Shakespeare just after last month's school committee meeting. We had 2 in-house open to the public performances in the Z, and the festival itself was live streamed from Shakespeare and Company. I do want to say that the drama company put on amazing performances. They were truly exceptional, and they deserve a lot of congratulations for their hard work. In a similar vein, last week we held auditions for the spring musical. And the drama program will be putting on performances this spring of SpongeBob the Musical, which hopefully will draw in a lot of our families to watch that production in March. As Corey mentioned, winter sports have started up with games beginning this week for boys and girls basketball. We also have students participating in our co-op teams for swimming at Monument Mountain and hockey at Mount Everett. And best of luck to all of our student athletes this season. The bowling team has also started up for the winter season. We're fortunate to have another large team again this year in our first bowling season since the pandemic began. Hopefully there will continue to be bowling alleys open in Berkshire County for them to play at.
Yeah.
We had some new garage doors installed in the barn behind the school last week as part of our capital improvements plan for this year. It really tightens up and weatherizes one of our key storage spaces, and also looks a lot better than the older doors did. Corey also mentioned the band and chorus concert that we held last week. And I do want to mention that as well, because it was another one of our first since the pandemic started situations and events. I want to also thank Matt Filio and our video production class for live streaming the concert on the Facebook page for those who are unable to attend in person. And just as a note, the video production class is again this year hoping to live stream all of our home basketball games through that same platform. There are less than 4 weeks left in the second quarter and first semester of the school year, which is just astounding to me. So we've got what's left of these 2 weeks prior to vacation, and then 2 weeks upon our return, and grades will close on Friday, January 14th. Any parents who are listening, I encourage you to log on to the Focus Parent Portal and check your students' grades so that any students who need to get some things done by January 14th, hopefully we'll get those assignments completed. Congratulations are in order for 2 LMHS teachers who received many grants for classroom projects from the College Club of Berkshire County. Jessica Hudnall received just over $600 for the creation of a dystopian society novel program for 10th grade English. And Joanne Nelson received $250 towards a project putting a children's storybook to music for this spring. Just want to say thanks to the College Club for making this possible for our faculty and students. Congratulations are also in order to Delaney Reed and Corey Chen for being named to the Senior District Music Festival this year. Delaney for chorus and Corey for band. My last item is a little different. You may remember that over the last several years, we've replaced a bunch of the scoreboards that we have in the district. We have 1 scoreboard remaining. It's actually the oldest scoreboard that was in the district back in the 80s, down in the girls' soccer field, which is also the girls' lacrosse field. And it has some other uses down there as well. Just for the heck of it, I did request a quote as to what it would cost to replace that scoreboard, and it's around $16,000 to replace that scoreboard. And I just wanted to bring to the committee's attention the fact that in the athletic budget, we have kind of an interesting situation this year because we were not able to run boys soccer, and a couple meetings ago, you actually authorized the transfer of boys lacrosse co-op to be hosted by Lennox. The total savings in the athletic budget from those 2 areas is about $24,000. So that if the committee were interested in taking another item that's been on our capital improvements list, a long list for a number of years, if the committee was interested in taking any action towards that, we would have the funding in the athletics budget to move forward and replace that final scoreboard. And at that, I will leave my report with any questions you may have.
Thank you, Greg. Andrew Wadsworth, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Can we add this and approve it tonight? If
So
it's- the money's already there.
Sure. So, I'm going to preface this, what I have been told that we don't always do it the way that I do it, and there's always new ways. But this money's already been appropriated. It's already been set aside in the budget. Superintendent, all he has to do, it was through the business administrator, which is the same person, is to request a transfer, and he has the ability to do that. We have the ability to approve it. It's already in the athletics side of the house. And so you just charge it to the line. But again, I agree with full transparency in that. I would add that I have asked repeatedly for how we close the books, and we have not done 1 transfer, and I don't know how we did that. But again, that's why I kind of tilted my head down, because we're asking to do something that we don't do, and we've done something we don't do. So I don't know. Yeah, I guess you do whatever. I am, as a licensed business administrator, I won't be voting for this, not because I don't support it, but I don't think it's necessary to do it this way. And we have the money. It's already been appropriated. It's great to hear about it after or before, however you want to do it. But it's already been assigned somewhere. So
the money's already been assigned. So it
Andrew,
doesn't need-
Chair, you can add it anywhere you'd like. So
if the money's- no, just answer this question. If the money's already been approved, it doesn't have to be approved again. Is that what you're saying?
that's what I'm saying. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So then so if the money's already been approved, then we're good to go.
Move along.
Move along.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Scoreboard there, Greg.
Get your scoreboard.
The scoreboard and show it to us later when we approve the transfer. That's a great thing to do.
Okay. All right. Next up, we have special education with Jen Norton. Oh, you moved.
How are you?
You
I
moved.
did, sorry about
I was ready for you to be there.
So we have some updates for special education. Right now, I am going to start with, we do have a few open positions, and it would be great also if we could get some additional subs. So I'm gonna start with that. Anybody out there who might be looking, even if it's for 1 or 2 days a week, we definitely can use the people, especially if you have some background working with children, but we are also willing to train. So we did just get approved yesterday or today, the new special education program plan statement, which I'm not sure, I think Andrea Larman may have signed. We need all the administration to sign it, as well as the business office and the school committee. And we update that every 4 years. And that is just to say that we as a school district are in compliance with IDEA 2004. And there's 6 main pieces under that. And we do that on a regular basis. And so we just have to update that as part of our cohorts for special education. Is one of the things we do on a regular rotation. We do have an increase in the number of evaluations. As of right now, we are still slightly below the state average for special education, but I do want to let everyone know that we have about 18 evaluations in the month of January alone. So we are getting more than normal, which everyone is anticipating with COVID and being out of school and learning in different ways. So I think that we are going through the process. We've been able to pretty much stick to timelines, except for in a few very specific cases. And for any families who, have any questions about special education or the process, they can absolutely reach out to my office, and I'm happy to go over any questions they may have. Preschool is on target to start the 3-year-old program 4 days a week on January 24th. So I will be sending out letters to those families and seeing if we have all 10 of those students that will be, right now 5 students come 2 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Thursday. We're going to be opening that up for the 3-year-olds to Monday through Thursday. So I'll let you know next month how many families intend to participate in that. The 4-year-olds are here 5 days a week, every day. So there's no increase for them right now. We met with as a team today, and we are making sure that we are appropriating any funding for our private school within our school district, or any students that live in Lee that attend private school. So we are on target with that, and making sure that any of the federal funding that we get, they get a portion of that. So we work together to determine how to spend those within that setting. Special education meetings are still taking place primarily via Zoom. There will be a parent survey going out probably right over the holiday. I wanted to wait till after we were out and give parents some time. I know they're being inundated with a lot of things right now, but do a parent survey and just see. We have a very high number of parents participating, more so than before, where we're getting both parents instead of just one or the other, which is really nice. But we also do have meetings in person if a family cannot accommodate. So we're going to just send out just to see where everyone stands. Do people like these meetings in this manner? Are they feeling like they're getting notification in a good way? We've had some tweaks to the system, and I think we have a good handle on it now. And we also have had a new addition to my office who has been there a little over a month in a permanent capacity, Kristen Decker, who is doing a great job, and I think helping getting all of these things working in great order. And that is all I have. Superintendent Richard, do I need to talk about what we talked?
That's under new business.
Okay, never mind. That's all I have.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions for Jen? All right, and then next up, we have Jordan Meyer from Facilities.
Hello, everyone. Good to see everyone. I feel like I haven't seen you folks in quite some time. I'll quickly run through some updates, and forgive me if I repeat anything. Again, I'm not quite sure what was discussed the last meeting that I wasn't fortunately able to attend. Most recently, our oldest vehicle in our fleet, which is the large dually, which spreads our salt and does the bulk of our plowing, had some linkage fail. The vehicle is 20 years old. It's had a very difficult life, and the recent failure of components only speaks to that. I think we're going to get one more season out of it. We did invest in repairs. It is up and running and reassembled and ready for winter action, but I fret this will be its last winter for us. All the other vehicles are doing fine, to include our van. We've recently received some MEMA supplies. We've taken COVID PPE and fulfilled our shelves, so we're looking good there. We've also completed more than the garage doors, like Greg mentioned. We have the LES pump that was worked on. Both had some supply issues and delays, but ultimately both projects were successful. The next on the list are the LES bump outs, which are still continuing to degrade and cause concern. We've removed some playscape hazards up at LES. I know that area is a kind of a hot topic. We're doing our best to mitigate any immediate concerns there and working towards developing a, perhaps a better space, better design. We've had some other projects done, like the neutralization clean out tanks for the science side of the LMHS facility. We've had the basin clean outs throughout the facility. And I'd like to thank Mr. Zabato for that. We were able to partner up with him and DPW. I noticed that the town was utilizing a company that was more than willing to pick up and just add on our basins into kind of a joint effort. And it did save the school a good bit of money. The gym floor at LMHS, which had some cracking and paint separation from its initial redesign, was addressed. The repairs came out very nice. The new coat is very nice. They don't expect any other problems. The LES gym had a treatment as well. It's been screened and resurfaced. We have the in-class filters, the MD40 systems, which around this time should be coming up on a filter replacement. The devices do have a self-alerting system. The filters go on hourly runtime. We have plenty of replacements. So a message will be sent out, and if any teachers start to have those alerts pop off, we'll certainly address that. All other HVA systems and building management systems retain their COVID mitigation parameters. We're still pumping in massive amounts of fresh air and meeting all the requirements for air exchange. Our internal filtration also remains strong, that storage and that supply. Winter operations were all squared up and prepared. Like I said, our vehicles are good to go. Our equipment's good to go. Our salts and chlorides are strong. The athletic fields had their winter treatments and preparations. We do have already the means to address in spring, the springtime nutritional values that go out. And as Superintendent Richard saying, COVID, the model that we've developed is working well. There's not much supply chain concern on the Broad supply. The Binex Now supply is still a bit of a concern, but they're holding us at about a 6-week supply. So we'll always be able to run that out. If there's any struggles going forward, we know we have at least 6 weeks in front of us to continue testing. Aside from that, that's pretty much all I have.
Thank you, Jordan. I think Andrea Wadsworth has a question for you.
Sure.
Hi, Jordan. I would just like to make a suggestion to the committee that as we plan the budget, which I assume is starting already or is about to start, that we add the truck to a capital list, if not for FY23, but definitely on FY23 to continue into FY24.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions for Jordan?
I don't know if Jordan could, if you don't mind, Jordan,
No.
you referred to, what was your term to the truck? Separation was, I think it was the tie rod broke, right? I want to make sure that the committee knows what you're.
Yeah, the tie rod. Yes, it was tie rod linkage that separated at a knuckle on the driver's side, which basically renders the truck useless. You can't steer it.
Which is an issue.
Yeah,
which is an issue.
Yeah,
especially with
little stuff, right? Like turning the wheels. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be great to put that on and get a new truck.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, next thing on our agenda is committee reports, and we have our finance committee.
All right, this evening, the Finance Subcommittee of the Lee School Committee met. We had 2 warrants that the subcommittee did approve. After some conversation, and we wanted to ensure that everything was in line with the budget and there were no major variances to discuss. So the first was the accounts payable for $317,591.98. And that again is the accounts payable.
Did you have anything to show us or no?
Oh, I can, I'm sorry.
Sorry, you usually throw something up. so
Yeah,
you
no, I
can look at it.
apologize. I do.
Sorry, Mike is multitasking for us here.
There you go.
Okay.
So the costs were primarily, largest expenses were primarily related to transportation, heating and cooling in the buildings. And then the steamer at the LMHS cafeteria failed. And so that's an expense that was charged, that's charged against cafeteria food service revolving. But that has been installed, but it's not working yet. There's some plumbing that failed when it was installed. The steam valve wasn't successfully done. So they're coming to fix that. I think either later this week or early next week.
Okay.
Can I just ask, how much is the balance in that revolving account?
I think it was that spoke to Lori earlier today. I thought that she said that she was around $62,000.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
Welcome.
Okay, I will entertain a motion for the accounts payable.
I make a motion for accounts payable in the amount of $317,591.98.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Okay, Brenda, can you do a roll call?
Mr. Robin,
Yes.
Mr. Kenneth,
Yes.
Mrs. Kushner,
Yes.
Ms. Larmen,
Yes.
Mr. Nichols,
Yes.
Ms. Strickler,
Yes.
Mrs. Wadsworth.
Yes,
All right, the second warrant was on payroll, and the payroll was in the amount of $866,338.21. This is all in line and what was budgeted for, so.
Okay, I will entertain a motion for the payroll.
Motion that we, for payroll warrants for $866,338.21.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Excuse me, who seconded that?
Nicole? Any discussion? All right. Brenda, can you do a roll call?
Mr. Robin,
Yes.
Mr. Kenneth.
Yes.
Mrs. Kushner,
Yes.
Ms. Larmen.
Yes.
Mr. Nichols,
Abstain.
Ms. Strickler,
Yes.
Mrs. Wadsworth.
yes.
Okay. Next thing on our agenda is old business, and we have none. So moving on to new business. The first thing on our new business, we had a request for the policy subcommittee to look at the vaccination policy. We met earlier today and had a discussion about whether we wanted to make a change to the vaccination policy. The request for the rest of the committee was around whether we wanted to make a change to make it so that members of the staff could forego having a vaccination and just get tested twice a week instead of having a vaccination. The policy subcommittee had a discussion, and the policy subcommittee voted to keep the original policy as is. So that is where the policy subcommittee is, unless the whole committee wants to open a discussion and change the policy. That's where we are. I'm hearing no motions. So I'm going to move on to the next item on the, oh, are you waving at me? Yes?
No, I'm sorry. I was waving at Jordan's son.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, guys, sorry.
Some of the snow, I mean, a Santa Claus hat and a child is waving to us. I was just waving.
All right, I'm moving on to the next item on the agenda, which is our Zoom meeting format. So I'm sure you are all aware that there's been an uptick again in Zoom bombings. So there's been a request by one of our committee members, and I don't think it's a bad request, that we change our Zoom meeting format from the current format to a webinar-based format for our meetings. And so I'm bringing that to the table. So would anybody like to make a motion to open a discussion about changing our Zoom meeting format?
I'll motion to open discussion about the change of Zoom meeting format.
I'll second it.
Okay,
Now,
wait a minute,
sorry.
any discussion? Roll call? Right, we have to roll call to do the discussion, or do we just need to make a motion?
Just have a discussion. Just-
All right, just have
Okay.
the discussion. I
So,
don't know, I'm still.
I'll start out,
Yeah.
because I brought this issue.
I didn't want to throw you under the
That's
bus,
right.
Kirk, but.
Too late, right So I, just by chance of what I do outside of here, I've had to kind of be involved in some Zoom bombing issues, and specifically another school committee in the region that had some pretty unfortunate things happen on their meeting. And I think that we kind of owe a little, we owe ourselves and we owe our community just a little bit of, I guess, security. I think about, public being able to be a part of our meetings. I think it's of the utmost importance that our public can. Before Zoom and before these hybrid meetings, people would have to come here and show their face, and if they wanted to act up, they would, but it was much more personal, much more here, and we all knew who they were.
Right.
But now with just the savviness of technology, and I'm not a technological person, and I'm getting real education right now on how crap these people actually are.
Yeah.
I think, it's allowing people that might not even be here locally, not be in Lee, or might not be in Massachusetts or in North America, access to our meetings and the ability to be disruptive and just put some unfortunate things in front of us and in front of our people. So I am not a Zoom expert by any means. My understanding, just through the course of what I've had to do the past month, is that there's a webinar base, which is more restrictive for access for our guests. We can still allow them the opportunity to participate, but they can't just unmute themselves, share their screen, and then we've got a real problem on our hands.
Correct.
So I think it's important that, for me, it's important to consider our public's access to our meetings, the ability to participate in our meetings, but also for us to protect the public and to protect ourselves from something nefarious happening.
I mean,
That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
I mean, Bert, I agree, because you think about it, you want to have the public trust and the public faith, in what we're doing, being able to attend our meetings and be part of it. Again, I always argue that we always have more people involved with the Zoom, say the online version of our meetings, maybe versus in public. But my question I want to ask is how more secure is webinar, because we take, even though we may switch our format, then what happens if that gets hit? And then we find another format we hit and that gets hit. I mean, I'm all for the security and safety of our community, so it doesn't happen, give that whoever does these things the attention, whatever. So I don't know, how do we do tighten up our security?
Andrea's got her hand up. Go ahead, Andrea.
Well, I don't have an answer to tighten up your security. I mean, I just have a general comment. So I actually sit on a countywide committee that was affected by the school committee that had this happen. And we did not move to a web-based format. We did change our format. Now it's much more restricted. We use the passcode. We don't put it out as soon. We put it out 48 hours before. And then the person managing the meeting actually is letting people in and has better control. And there's some setting they did to protect the meeting and could really shut it down without shutting the meeting off. I will defer to the group. Webinars to me feel so impersonal because then you're on a panel, and as much as our role here is to have a meeting as elected officials and the public is to be able to watch, not necessarily participate, it is good to, as a member sitting here and seeing the names who are in attendance. We won't get that from a webinar as much. The person running the meeting will see who's here. As members, we won't. And then I kind of feel like if I was sitting in a room, I'd be able to see who was in the room, and a webinar doesn't allow that as much. I think there's a layer in between, Kirk, that we could probably investigate to see if it worked, if we wanted to add some levels of security. And I'm happy to like put Mike in connected with the person who's working with the other school committee. So thank you.
The other options is create a registration for each meeting. And then when people register, they get the code, and then it goes to them alone, and they can sign in. It's probably the easiest and most simplistic way.
Betsy has her hand up too.
So I agree with what Andrea was saying, actually what everybody I think is saying, that having public involvement at whatever level is really important for these meetings and these conversations. And I'm always thinking about ways to remove barriers to participation or joining the meeting. The other thing I think we should introduce at this time is, do we have a protocol should there be a Zoom bomber, whether it's today or with any other enhanced? I think there should be a protocol of, whatever it is. And if that's the tech committee that comes up with that, or we as a school committee come up with that, I think there should be a protocol so that we are prepared, just like in a fire drill. What do you do?
No, I would agree with that, Betsy. I think that's a good idea.
I think that's great too, because I don't want us all to forget, or maybe we don't even know that we were bombed on kindergarten orientation last year. Were you there?
I was there.
So we are not, that has happened.
Yeah.
So I'm all about the more security, but I do think Randy's idea of the registering sounds like the easiest way to get what we all.
Yeah, and by no means this, whatever enhanced security that we decide to take, I don't want that to be a barrier for our community to be involved and to watch our proceedings. I think it's of the utmost importance that we allow that.
Right.
I just don't want to deal with what I deal with this last month.
Yeah.
There's a lot of security options there, also with the chat feature too. You can eliminate that. I mean, there's just a lot of different things you can do. We can take a look at.
Yeah.
Take baby steps at it, see how it works.
Okay.
Would it be helpful if I sort of investigated it, Mrs. Wadsworth, if you send me the name of whoever the contact is, it'd be great. If I investigate some of those options, push them out to you, you tell me which ones you want me to implement for the next meeting.
Sounds fair.
I think that's fair.
All right.
Does that sound good for everybody?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Okay. And then the last thing under under new business is the part-time paraprofessional positions proposal. During the our finance subcommittee, we discussed 2 new part-time paraprofessional positions that were proposed. And I'm going to let Jen. You moved.
She's like the owl.
She's really messing up my Vanna. She's messing up my Vanna White tonight. I'm gonna let Jen talk to the positions.
So one of them is just an additional service that we have determined to add for a student, and it was both of these were team decisions, and another student just happens to be new to the district, and we've determined that we need some additional supports throughout the day in order to meet that student's needs. I did look at seeing if we could make this into one full-time position, but there's an overlap in the times that I would need. So really it makes more sense to try to find 2 part-time people, but ultimately, we also have an open preschool position. It's difficult to find people. So I am open to ideas as I get people applying for those positions, if you do approve those, but Yeah, it's just about the needs of the students changing throughout this time.
And just to let you know that the finance committee did approve, at the finance committee level, they were approved. So that's where we are. Questions for Jen?
I'd just like to add, I mean, it has to do with compliance as well.
Right.
So just want to add that.
All right. Would anybody like to make a motion about the part-time paraprofessional positions?
I'll make a motion to accept the paraprofessional part-time positions as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? All right. Brenda, can you do a roll call, please?
Mr. Robin?
Yes.
Mr. Kenneth?
Yes.
Mrs. Fisher?
Yes.
Ms. Larmen?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Ms. Strickler?
Yes.
Mrs. Wadsworth?
Yes.
All right. Next thing on our agenda is our future business, which would be
Andrea, can I
meeting.
bring up a new
Yep.
business? Sorry, I'm not sure how to address it, but I wanted to know if we're allowed to address the suggestion that was brought up in the public comment period around shifting our agenda for public comments at another point in the meeting. So I'm not sure what the process is to raise the topic, but do you need a motion?
Andrea Wadsworth, you know I'm looking at you, so.
Yeah, I couldn't tell. So all Betsy has to do is it's called making a motion from the floor. So she can I make a motion to discuss new business regarding changing when public comment happens in the meeting.
Was that a motion? Because I'll second it.
I guess that was a motion. I would like to make a motion.
That's what you did there, Betsy.
Well said, Andrea. Well said.
Any discussion?
I think the point that was made is.
Do we need to roll call that before we can discuss it? Andrea Wadsworth?
No, I think that's the motion. We're having a discussion to change when it happens. Yep.
I think the point from the public was pretty decent. You know, they are making comments about our meeting before we're discussing these issues. And then if if a member of the public has a question or has a point that they want to make or suggestion that they want to make, they either have to email us after the meeting as a committee, or they have to wait until the next month, the next meeting to speak or to get their point across or to say what they have to say. I think it's a valid point. I don't know.
I
think there's also.
Go ahead, Betsy.
I was going to say, I think there's also the challenge of those who want to make public comments at the beginning and then go off and have dinner. And not wait around for an hour and a half or longer. So I think, but I think it's a good conversation to have.
For me, this protocol, this process, it happens in city council meetings, happens in school committee meetings that the public has, first say, if you will. I don't understand why that process happens that way. I think we should take some time to just figure out and ask questions and maybe reach out to other school committees or even our what is it, the mass school MASC, yeah, and understand maybe a little bit better why it happens that way. But I agree. I mean, there's stuff that's discussed that they want to talk about later, and if that's okay, I'm okay with it. But I don't know why it's like this across the board, and there may be a reason that we're not able to think about at this point in time.
Can we have it sort of have public comments in the beginning, and also can you have public comments at the end? Can you do it that way? Does anyone know?
You can set your agenda any way you'd like. There's also the rationale that there's no public comment. A lot of people don't like that. I'm just saying that the meeting is to be viewed, not participated in. And so you're allowing participation. The thought of having it before is there's a hope that the agenda's been reviewed and people can make a comment about the items that are going to be spoken about in the agenda, so they get heard first. I agree, Betsy, at the end, they could hear all the discussion and then comment at the end. Although when they comment at the end, you shouldn't really respond. And so you won't be able to respond to something you've heard after the fact. So there's all these nuances to it.
Right, because public comment is not supposed to be responded to.
Right.
It's just for them to make a comment. And so you can't take into, so if they comment at the beginning, in theory, you can take into consideration what they've said. Whereas if they comment at the end, you
Okay.
cannot take into consideration what they've said.
Right, and I guess, you know, if I think what Andrew said about reviewing the agenda and making their statement at that point in time, for whatever we're going to discuss is good, you know, it's good, but
Right.
if we've already discussed something, voted on it, I mean, what is the purpose of having comment after that?
All right, yeah.
I've also seen school committees where people sign up for public comment. I mean, it's voluntary and you should always address, anyone who wants to address the board should during a public comment. But sometimes when you sign up, they let you know what the topic is going to be. So you may, as a member, be researching or be a little bit prepared in case a topic was to be discussed that was not on the agenda also. Just, there's a lot of, like Randy said, it would be good to maybe pool some of our neighbors and see why they do what they do and when they do it, to see the rationale.
Yeah, I would agree. Mike's adding it to his to-do list.
I was gonna say, who's doing that? Because it's not me.
Mike's
Thank you,
adding
Mike.
it to his.
Problem. Thank you, Mike.
Yep. Do you want me to just limit that to Berkshire County or do you have, okay.
So
I
for the
don't know.
purpose of my motion, do we want to vote on this or would you like me to make a motion to amend my motion to table this?
I think we should table, I mean, I think we should table it until we've
Right.
got more information.
Yes, agreed.
Do better. I retract my motion. I just need someone to second it.
Second.
All right.
Thank you.
Need to vote on it.
Do we need to vote on the retraction?
Yeah.
Okay. Can we do it, oh, she's back there. Brenda, can you do a roll call?
Mr. Robin,
Yes.
Mr. Kenneth.
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Ms. Larmen.
Yes.
Mr. Nichols,
Yes.
Ms. Strickler,
Yes.
Wadsworth.
Yes.
Okay. Now, future business. Our next meeting is January 11th, 2022, next year. And then last thing on our agenda,
If I may just real quick,
you may not.
talking about future business.
Yeah,
I know that I sent an email to the committee earlier this month about, there's obviously that incident that happened at an athletic event here in the county
yeah,
where a parent got involved. And Andrea Wadsworth rightfully kind of set me straight about our scope and our purpose.
no, Andrea Larman set you right.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
So I'm sorry, I got so confused. I get confused. Sorry, Andrea. Anyhow,
Do that.
I'd like to put that back on the agenda for next month's meeting as a way for us to discuss, or I don't know how I want to say this, talk about safety at our events. And if we need to, I don't know how I want to say this.
We want to discuss our policy regarding safety at events, and we'd like to review the policy as it's applied and applicable to future events.
Yes. What she said. Yes, that's what I'm asking for, is that we're able to put this on the agenda for our next meeting. That we can all review the policy, have time to look it over and see if there's anywhere that we need to make improvements.
Mike, you can send that policy out.
So do you want that to start at the policy subcommittee level?
There you go.
Be my suggestion.
Yes, that's us.
I just want to point something out. I feel like that every time Kirk knows I'm going on vacation, every darn time, he makes a policy recommendation, every
Well, let's
time.
push it up to
Oh
everybody
my goodness.
then. I didn't know you were on vacation.
No, it's fine. Yes, we probably do need to review it at the policy level. So
Okay.
yes.
On it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else you'd like to add?
One more thing.
Jeez.
All right.
I'm just helping Brenda out over here.
All righty. I will take a motion to adjourn.
I motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Any discussion? Brenda, can you roll call us out, please?
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
Mr. Kenneth,
Yeah.
Mr. Sherrick,
Yes.
Ms. Larmen,
Yes.
Mr. Nichols,
Yes.
Ms. Strickler,
Yes.
Ms. Wadsworth.
Yes. Happy holidays, everyone. Have a safe and happy new year.
You as well.
Holidays, guys. We are adjourned.